Welcome, Sojourners. You have found yourself a cozy place at Sojourners Awake. I'm Jonathan, and this is our production of The Bookish and the Brave. Like you, the Sojourners are on the mission and face conflict, sometimes even danger. The light at the end of the tunnel might seem far away, but nevertheless, they each press on with intrigue, mystery, and threat in their own way. Nothing good comes from the world while lies and darkness reign. And in this production, the Sojourners most recently arrived at Baldtop Library. They fled as refugees from the city of Boshan, and now find themselves employed as the Bookends, guardians of knowledge, wisdom, and ultimately truth. How will they explore their new home, this new location of knowledge and wisdom? And so for now, our story continues. As soon as the light of the eastern sun begins to touch the door cracks open. With sleep in your eyes, stiff joints, and a long night, the door begins to open and out steps 5 purple-robed witnesses and attendants. Going about their merry day, they're talking about simple things. Well, the prices was certain to go up before. Oh, pilgrims already? One of them addresses you. Hi, I'm Kalan. Welcome to Baldtop Library. Are you hoping to learn knowledge and wisdom here?
Yes, I am hoping very much to find that here. Also, we were sent by Halal and Haleth.
Oh, wonderful. References? Fantastic. You're hoping to gain entrance. Do you have the books that you plan to produce?
Yeah, I have mine. Hey, guys, do you have your books?
Fantastic. Well, we can begin the interview process. It's very informal. We'll do it one by one. We can kind of split up and everything, but we're probably just going to have a couple pilgrims come by here later on. Who would like to go first? And he pulls up a chair.
I need a rest.
Well, you can rest plenty when you get inside. You're free to stay out here for the rest of the day if you'd like, but no interview, no entrance.
Vaughn would wait to see if either one of them wanted to step up, but if neither one of them steps forward quickly, he would jump up and say, I will go first.
All right, fantastic. Well, first of all, name and where you are from.
My name is Vaughn, and I am from the monastery, and that is all you need to know.
Well, not exactly. Good, you're a monk. You probably been asked this question before, but as you enter into the most sacred grounds of Baldtop Library, what remains attached to your person? These are people, places, and things that you would be bringing in with you. Attachments to the outside world.
I have no family. My only attachment is to the order that I come from, the Order of the Defenders, the Order of the Cloverblade.
The Cloverblade, okay. Very good. Thank you for your honesty. Any powerful artifacts that you were attuned to?
No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, and he clearly looks at your scuffles and your scrapes, notices them, but doesn't pause at all to offer you any kind of aid. Presses on with the interview. Do you have any outstanding debts?
No.
Fantastic. This is going on smoothly. Are you hunted by any organization?
Not by any organization.
By an organization of one?
That is possible.
Might I have the name of that, please?
To the best of my knowledge, my family was murdered by Lord Basile, and he's now looking for me, but he does not know me as Vaughn.
Okay, well, you see, we specialize in knowledge here at Baldtop. So already, you told me you didn't have family, and now you're telling me you've had family, but they've been murdered by Lord Basile. All I would need to do is do like a quick search out there to find out who Lord Basile has murdered in the last month or so. I could probably size up your personality as well as your appearance and figure out what family you've come from.
Now, you asked me if I have family, and I do not have family. They are all dead.
True. But that doesn't mean there's no attachments, anything. I apologize. This might come off as a little cold and unfeeling, and I do not mean that in any way. This is the culture of Baldtop, however, and you coming in here to gain access, which I assume you are, I want to be upfront. Knowledge is power, and secrets are dangerous. That is why we have this strict interview process. So, Lord Basile, that's a good thing to know. Have you blasphemed any of the gods, Ogma, Denir, Azuth, Gond, or Milil? The top 5.
I have not.
Fantastic. And of course, you have the book. All right, wonderful. Well, we've taken a detailed account of your report, Vaughn. I do hope you enjoy your time here at Baldtop. And then he looks at the reference letter and says, "Oh," and he points towards the word bookends, produced by Halal. Fantastic. Well, Vaughn, I think you will enjoy your time here. Tall man, might I get you to participate next in the interview? Vaughn, you step away from Kalan. There are other witnesses. Again, they're very casual, sitting, discussing many things, talking of higher learning, powers and magics, politics, otherworldly events, as well as current affairs. You hear a couple smatterings about the burning of Boshin, as this information has already reached Baldtop. Well, name and where you're from, please.
The name I was given was Sterling Stargazer.
Oh, one of those. And where are you from, Sterling Stargazer?
Boshin, recently.
Oh, well, sorry to hear about the current affairs. Do you have any outstanding debts?
Nope.
Do you have any person, places, or things attached to your person? You've already disclosed that you're from Boshin. That'll do just fine. Any places, any persons or things?
Nope.
Any powerful items that you're attuned to?
Just this thing, and he holds up his sea glass.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. What is that there?
I found it when I was younger, and I just kind of kept a hold of it. But now it's doing some weird things. It'll show stars. Yeah, it'll show star signs. I think it's a star map.
Well, you will get to learn all about it as you bring it in here. Of course, it will be needed to be inspected for safety. We like to know the things and the people coming into Baldtop, of course, and you get to learn all about it, I'm sure. Are you hunted by any organization, or, and he looks at Vaughn, or person, and he says, "Irony, come here." And this young man, about 15 years old, kind of quickly runs up really quick. He's got stark, very blue skin, and he's got tattoos on both of his arms. He's got a couple piercings. His hair is pulled back, and you can see 2 large devil horns protruding through his locks. His eyes are completely pupilless. He is indeed a tiefling, an heir of infernal ascent. Irony, come here, real quick. Make an amend to our interview process here. Organization and person. Okay, you got that?
Yeah, of course, I got it for sure. That's great.
He begins to jot it down. Irony is one of our assistants here. And then he looks up at you, Sterling, and says, "Welcome to Baldtop."
Hey, Irony.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Are you hunted by any organization or person?
Nope.
Fantastic. Have you blasphemed any of the gods? Ogma, Denir, Azuth, Gond, or Milil?
No, sir.
Good response. Very good. Very bad to get on their bad side, right? And of course, you brought the book. Oh, Jinns and How to Spot Them. You know, this is actually part of a larger collection. Wow, fantastic. And then as soon as you say that, a couple of the witnesses, what? Oh, it's volume 1. I told you, yes, it's in mint condition. This is great. And they begin to goo and gaga over this book. All right, hands off. Irony, do the honors. Go ahead and deliver that to the witness program, and we'll get that book logged in. Great. Well, your interview process is over. Sterling, Stargazer, welcome to Baldtop. Ladies and gentlemen of Baldtop, I would like to produce we have a fellow gnome in our midst. Master Gnome, it's been a while since we've been graced with the presence of your ancestry. If you are intending to stay here, it is quite an honor. As you would know, it is the founders of Baldtop Library were themselves stowaways from the Feyland, the land of dreams, into our wonderful world of Bonzaro. You are most welcome here.
Well, thank you.
Well, name and where you're from, please.
My name is Hawkins Aurelius Philibine Idlehands. I'm from Boshin.
Say no more. Your parents have significantly benefited Baldtop Library, and we are very happy to have an Idlehands here among our ranks once again. Do you have anything attached to your person?
Well, my father gave me his steel defender. I don't know the value of it. I believe it's one of a kind, but I think it will only obey me at this point.
I would expect so. Do you have any outstanding debts?
Well, perhaps. Lord Basile ordered a large quantity of weapons from my partner and I, and we are not going to be able to fulfill that as far as I know. At least I'm not going to do my part. 100 gold was the sum he gave.
Well, it's I'm noticing a pattern here with Lord Basile. Do I dare to assume you are also hunted by Lord Basile?
Not yet, I hope. But he may come to collect. I haven't done anything to offend him personally, as far as I know.
Okay, well, any other organizations or persons that are out hunting you?
No, sir.
Okay, that's good. It's very nasty business, of course. But you can, I mean, he's pandering to you a little bit, and you can rest assured, Mr. Idlehands, and the security is going to be top notch. You're going to be very well pleased. There's actually been some improvements made since your parents left. That's right. It was Lorana and Stuffnubble Bonknose, one of the very few first gnome refugees from the Dreamland. I mean, you'll get to know all about them. And learn everything. And we're actually very excited you're here. So I just have to go through these questions, it's just a formality. I mean, have you blasphemed any of the gods, Ogma, Denir, Azuth, Gond, Milil?
No, sir.
No, of course not. And what book did you produce?
It is Toys, Trinkets, and Tidbits.
Oh, fantastic. Wonderful. And then one of the witnesses, a young woman in purple robes, she kind of just speaks up, and you can tell there's a very forward culture here. A lot of hand gestures used to indicate when someone's speaking, and she raises a hand and just kind of interjects herself in the conversation. She says, "Oh, Mr. Idlehands, I would really appreciate it if I could get your signature on one of my copies of the Idlehands books," and she presents one of the manuals that you had seen on your mother's shelf, just kind of scrawled out growing up. I would love if I could get one of your signatures, please.
I really have hardly anything to do with that, but I guess I have no problem with that. So he'll sign it, just H. Idlehands.
she kind of looks around and says, "See, I told you I could get it. This is great." And she just gets really excited, and Kalan says, No, well, after your shift, you can go brag to your friends. He looks at all three of your papers and says, well, this is interesting. All three of you recommended as bookends. He shuffles the paper emphatically and says, you are in for quite an experience here in Bald Top. Please, Irony, come back here. Irony will be your personal attendant for the rest of your time here, and he will show you to the bathhouse where you can get cleaned up and then show you to your living quarters, at least for now. The bookends have their own private residence, of course, within the library. For now, you'll just be in the Court of Air with the rest of the pilgrims who are searching everything. If while you are here in the court, if you would like to gain access to any books, just tell Irony. He will go fetch everything for you. If you have any needs, please, again, let Irony know. And again, I am Kalan. I am one of the many gate wardens. If you ever have any questions about the safety and security here at Bald Top, please don't hesitate to bring anything to my attention. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I didn't quite get a chance to read my book on the way here. Is there an opportunity for me to read it?
Yeah, it takes a couple days to process the book. We'd like to verify its veracity and accuracy, but give it a couple days and you can ask Irony here and he'll fetch it for you as soon as possible. Actually, if you want, you can look at volumes 2, 3, and 4. It comes in a set. We were waiting on this one, so this is a good find. There might be a waiting list. You might want to hurry up and get that done. Any other questions?
No, sir.
I am ready to rest. Thank you.
Welcome to Bald Top. The sun begins to bathe in, and the Court of Air, as you walk in, Irony's leading you. He seems very excited and shows you towards the bathhouse where you get cleaned up, refreshed, private stalls, steam filling up the area, fresh linen, cotton towels. Place is very immaculate. If you're used to any sort of wealth, you would be very comfortable here. And if you had lived in poverty, it would seem quite a leap. The best of the best, all kinds of magical areas within the bathhouse, little bitty flames of fire and vents of steam coming up from out of nowhere, soothing your aching bodies. There are plenty of salves and oils upon which to heal yourself. Indeed, you all get 1d8. If you would roll a 1d8 as you apply these healing balms to yourself, 1d8 full of hit points. Vaughn, as you bathe your body in these healing salves, it seems to close up your wounds and restore your sore muscles. It has a particular pleasant aroma for your senses. What would that be?
So Vaughn is familiar with high-end bathhouses and the different balms and scents, but one that he particularly liked that his mother used a lot when he was a child was one that was a lavender scented balm, and it just brought. She used to rub it on his sore legs after a day of training with his brothers or a day of hunting, and it had that nice lavender scent, and it also helped him fall asleep. And so he smells that lavender and then thinks about his mother and remembers those times.
Hawkins, this particular salve that you soothe your very much aching body, having come back from total unconsciousness as that wolf pounced you and knocked your body into shock. What sort of senses would you be smelling at this time?
Basically the smell of cedar, which is a wood that they used often to make the shafts of arrows. So it's a very comfortable smell. It's the smell he's been accustomed to for 20 years or so. He really doesn't even notice that smell is there, but it's just an additional thing comforting him. While he's wiping dried blood off of his arms, he sees that there are some scars from the teeth of the wolves.
In Sterling, the steam fills up this shower The water seems to come from every direction, from the top, little spigots from the sides, splashing your body on all sides. And as you dry yourself off, the salve to moisturize and cleanse your body is standing there. The smell greets your nose. And what would that be?
For Sterling, it's a mixture between like the underwater sea kind of greenery, like seaweed kind of mixed with the steam, and kind of reminds him of when he was down under the ocean, just swimming along in the streams.
As you leave the bathhouse, it's a very private area, so when you don't really notice anybody else while you're in the bathhouse. But as you follow the path, the exit door, you leave out and you go into the large court of air. I mean, there's no trees, no benches. It's just large cobblestone, almost a quarter of a mile wide, quarter of a mile deep. People walking back and forth, carrying books to various little study areas. Along the edges of this court, there are a couple of benches in which people are talking, sharing drinks of coffee and tea in the morning. And the three of you happen to walk out of the bathhouse, and you're standing there waiting for irony. And you have a moment to yourselves.
Well, this is stark contrast from last night.
Yes, it feels nice to be cleaned up a little bit, and this does seem like a pleasant place. I look forward to learning much.
How's your arm there, Hawkins?
Well, the wounds are closed up a bit, but I'm sure this is going to scar. Don't have many scars except in my hands. Now I got some on my arms too.
As you look up in the sky, you can see the beautiful white clouds dotting the blue sky. The sun is completely there. And you notice there's not much wildlife for those of you that pay attention to the animals. But every once in a while, a small seagull will fly completely over the court of air. It will fly in a very strange fashion, almost as if it's avoiding something. Irony interrupts you and, "Hey, Bookins, you're here. This is great. And you're all cleaned up and you're feeling good. You haven't had much time to sleep. I'm sure you're tired from your pilgrimage, huh?"
Very much so, sir, yes.
I might be young, but it's pretty much my job to make sure you guys have a great time here. And if you don't want to start the tour now, you can maybe get a little shut-eye. I can lead you to your quarters if you like. And again, this is just where you're staying for now before you get to inside the library. Their processing, our processing takes a little bit of time. They just want to check you out and make sure you are really who you say you are.
That would be wonderful, Irony, if we could get some rest.
All right. I take it this way, and I'll kind of show you around and everything. There's a couple of the temples. If you're doing any work for Agama or Millil, you can write some songs there, some poetry. I've heard it said that if you write under that tree, inspiration just comes at you like a rushing wind or a flood of water. So a lot of the students here and a lot of the witnesses try to covet that area to get the best song and the best poetry. So it becomes a little bit of a competition. So I don't know if you're into art or music or writing, it's a pretty cool place there. Look, that's it. That's the library. And he points toward this large green door, and it glows with this very strong magnetic pulsing energy, and says, ain't nobody getting in there unless you've been avowed, unless you've been witnessed, unless you've been processed, and they've made sure you, like I said, you are who you are. In the meanwhile, we'll head to the inn, and you guys are in room 324. So I'll lead you up there now.
Thank you.
As you go up into your room, Irony says, "Well, I'll let you get some shut-eye, and I'll come pick you up in, a couple hours, maybe?"
Yes, that will be great.
He shuts the door quietly, and you're left to yourself to rest and perform whatever tasks you have in mind.
It's middle of the day, correct?
Yeah, probably almost lunchtime.
Okay. So Vaughn's going to want to I mean, he doesn't have any armor to take off, but he's going to place his stuff next to one of the beds, assuming there's 3 beds. If there are 3 beds, he's going to take the one closest to the door, and he's just going to go lay down and go to sleep. He's exhausted.
Okay. Was the steel defender like taken to a stable or something?
Wonderful. Yes, in fact, it was taken to a little mechanical repair shop.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Hawkins will set down his things, take off his chain shirt, and start to settle into another of the beds. He'll pull out his lion and start to make a couple of repairs with it. Basically, he's recharging the effects. The second wind recharges on short rest, so he's charging his lion back up, and then turns to a notebook that he was transcribing some things from the book that he just gave to the library. And so he's going through some notes from that, jotting down some things, but it's probably 10 minutes and then he just falls asleep in the middle of writing.
Are we free to roam around?
Oh, yeah.
All top. Okay, so once Sterling's actually feeling okay and refreshed after being in the water, but he does see that his friends fall asleep, and so he wants to go to the ocean now. He was hiding from it, so he wants to go to the beach, and he's going to write a message in Druidic and leave it kind of on the walls, on kind of the sea wall leading up to, just so that if anyone sees it, they kind of know what's going on, because he has not left any clues, anything that's going on. So he wanted to do that, but just kind of sees it as like a pilgrimage to just catch a fresh breath of fresh air. There we go. And then he'll go back to the room and quietly make his way back in.
You saw the steel defender being taken away by a couple of the witnesses, and they're geeking out over the machinery and the intricacies of this machine, and pointing out the different definitions of gnomish technology. You instinctively walk that way and watch as the steel defender gets taken to a shop. You hear all kinds of noises of squeals and rivets and whirls and explosions, pops. You see a small stairway go up towards it as the salty air is fresher up there. It leads you up to a parapet overlooking the southern part of the Mavi Ocean. The eastern sun is baking down hot now as it is noontime. As you finish your message in Druidic, you hear next to you a woman's voice. It's a nice place for quiet thoughts, isn't it?
Oh yes, and the view of the ocean is just breathtaking.
It seems to house in all the secrets, and even helps us find the secrets within our own mind, don't you think?
This place or the ocean?
For me, it's this place.
Oh.
But I'm guessing for you, it might be the ocean.
I'm ready for it to be this place.
Welcome. I'm Sylvia. She extends her hand in a greeting.
Hi, Sylvia. I'm Sterling.
So, you've made a pilgrimage here. I've learned it's useless to ask people why they come here or from where they came, but I have found it is useful to ask them what they are seeking.
Seeking. Yeah, that's. I came just seeking wisdom, seeking something new in this place. I have this insatiable appetite for knowledge, and I am curious, and this place is just opening up to me, and I am so excited.
Well, she, taken aback by your zeal and passion, she says, "You are definitely in the right place. Uh, hmm. Reminds me of myself when I was younger. I haven't seen that zeal or passion in such a while. I dare I ask, have you heard of Bald Top?
Not until Halal told me about it. I was in Boshin and just checking that place out, and wow, there was lots of cool things there too. It was a very interesting place to be, but nothing like here.
Well, no, there is nothing interesting in Boshin. I would say you've made the right choice. But am I understanding you were recruited then?
Oh yes, yes. Halal. He met me, and he saw how curious I was, and wow, there was just so many sights and sounds and great food in Boshin too that he could see that in me. So he invited me to come and be a bookend. Do you know any bookends?
Her eyes go wide. Do I? The bookends. You're a bookend.
I not yet. I don't think.
Well, if you have been chosen to be a bookend, it is only a time before you realize what that responsibility and power entails. Well, I stay in the library.
Okay.
I come here to the court from time to time, especially when I'm doing teaching and orations. Look me up. Baldtop is a good place. If it's wisdom and knowledge you seek, you're definitely going to find it here. But you won't always find friends. If you need a trusted guide, a helping hand, or just someone to listen to, or someone to listen to you, I'm here. She seems to appreciate your zeal and your wide-eyed innocence.
Well, thank you, Sylvia. Hey, I brought the first edition of Gins and Where to Spot Them if you were looking in the library for that.
I got the notification that arrived. I've been able to spot gens just fine without the book, and I have no problem spotting them at all.
Oh, if you see one, can you point it out to me?
Of course. I would love to talk to you about gens sometime. Let's put a pin in that conversation. I am late for a class.
Well met, Sylvia.
Sterling, you have gained one ally, Sylvia. She is wearing green robes. Irony leads the rest of you to a small office space and says, all right, well, I have the wonderful pleasure of going over your syllabus, your program here. Does everyone have everything they need to get started? Well, from what I understand, you'll be here for an entire year studying. During that time you study, you have access to most, if not all, the information in the library. And we're talking like hundreds and sometimes even thousands of years old of information. I mean, if it's not in book format, it might be in a translucent scroll, or even better yet, you might get to actually talk to someone who was there at the time historical events happened. It's common knowledge that oftentimes gods, Ogma, Milil, Gond, they'll all visit here. Denier has made quite a few appearances. And if you see them in the flesh, I mean, they're really cool. I mean, just walk right up to them and start talking. If you haven't noticed, it's a very forward culture here. As he begins to talk about gods appearing in the corporal form, walking about Baldtop Library, I would like to zoom in on each of your reactions. Sterling, how does this affect you?
He's already wide-eyed, and so upon hearing that, it just starts the wheels in his brain just ticking. Like, so I'm looking out for jinns and gods now, and he's like, maybe there's a book on how to spot them.
Hawkins.
Hawkins's parents were believers in science, and while they sort of went through the motions of paying homage to gods of knowledge and that sort of thing. He could tell that it wasn't a deep and true faith. That's something that has stuck with him, even though he's been among the people for most of his life at this point. He kind of regards most of that as superstition. So he'd be happy to meet a god, but not really intimidated by the prospect.
Vaughn's family, always played the high road with any of these kinds of things that could be controversial. So Vaughn grew up in an environment that was accepting and friendly towards all the gods and all the believers of the different gods, because why alienate anybody that could eventually help you in your trade or any of this kind of stuff. So as a family, they don't have any foundational belief or relationship with any of the gods. So I would say that Vaughn is curious and maybe a little apprehensive about the possibility that this is real. He just kind of always assumed it was something that some people hung on to because they needed help. So they needed something that they couldn't find.
Irony goes on and says, yeah, it's really great. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I personally have never gotten to do face-to-face time with any of those heavy hitters, but I've heard about it, seen from a distance. Well, anyway, Balltop Library is founded in 471 by Lorena and Stufflenose Bonknose. Lorena and Stufflenubble Bonknose. Motions toward you, Hawkins. Two gnomes who fled as refugees from the land of dreams. And, elves have become a little more accepting of their Fae brothers and sisters of sharing the land of Bonsarel now. So we're always happy to have gnomes here, of course. Not that it gets you any special privileges from what I understand, but it kind of does. He winks at you. And, then all that happened, the flood and everything. And here we are now in the present day. And there's a couple things here, sometimes you'll hear Balltop called the Citadel of Learning, the Castle of Tomes, the Great Library. Currently, their population is 425. We are led by a group of monks, the Order of Balltop. They make all the decisions, decide all the big stuff and everything. How much do we pay for the security, the lights, who do we let in, who do we not let in? Pretty much everything goes through them. Speaking of defense, we are protected by magical wards. If you noticed, when you came in, the doors were probably closed because it was nighttime. At nighttime, this place is sealed shut. No one can enter, no one can leave. And as soon as the sunlight hits that door, the doors fly open, and it's pretty much anybody can leave, anybody can come in. We do stand guard. The witnesses stand guard, and if there's ever any kind of scuffle, you will be called upon as you are bookends, the guardians of knowledge and information. So hope you're ready to put your boxing gloves on. But don't worry, we don't have fights that often or anybody trying to break in, at least not right now. We do have quite a few traps. If any of you are skilled at glyphs of warding or any kind of snares or magical powers, we always like to hear about the newest tech that's coming into play. And of course, we're guarded by Miriam, the ghost of an ancient silver dragon. Yes, the ghost of a dragon. She lives deep under Balltop. I know she exists, but we don't actually see her come out that often. She's not really been called upon to defend the Castle of Tomes in a very long time, at least not my lifetime, which is only 15 years. So, any questions so far? He takes a sip of coffee.
How did you get here, Irony?
Great question. I would like you to roll me a D8.
4.
Well, that's a great question. I had been very fortunate to train under the best living teachers. That I'm a sage, as my discipline has to offer. I grew up in Highkeep, one of the neighboring towns of Boshen. I was sent here to learn from the masters of long ago. So I, again, born to a very wealthy family in Highkeep, and was sent here just 3 years ago, and plan to learn as much as I can.
you have any friends here?
Oh yeah, like well, we're all kind of friends, all 424 of us, including myself. But I mean, well, you mean like people you play with, or I mean, gosh, I don't know, we don't play together much anymore. But I don't know, I guess we're all kind of friendly.
I think we'll be great friends, Irony.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we're all gonna be friends. This is good. Sterling, yeah, friends. And he kind of like puts his finger up to you, almost like a finger bump, and then he kind of pulls back and pats towards you very awkwardly.
I'll give him a big high five.
Oh, okay. All right. Mr. Hawkins, Mr. Vaughn, any questions from you guys?
Do you have any kind of like laboratories for experimentation and that kind of thing?
Yeah, actually, we have a brand new shop. Your Steel Defender was taken there. It's kind of half experimental, half managing some of the protective mechanisms, building some constructs to kind of beef up the defenses. They've been building quite a few constructs lately, mechanical humanoids walking around. They haven't really put them to the test, though, so it's still questionable from what I understand if they actually work. But yeah, your Steel Defender's there. There's plenty of room for experimentation. I'm sure they'd love to have you. I mean, an actual Idle Hands working here in Baldtop again. I mean, whoo, it's going to be lit.
I'm afraid y'all are going to be disappointed.
Oh, Mr. Idle Hands, you're being way too modest, I'm sure. Everyone's already talking about what they're excited to see you pull off.
Really, I'm a Fletcher. I don't know if y'all understand that. I've spent the last 20 years making arrows. like just arrows.
Good one, Mr. Idle Hands. Oh, man. Oh, whew. He seems to forget you, Vaughn, bypassing your questions altogether, if you had any. He says, well, I think that's about it. I guess these belong to you. He slams down 3 large books and pushes them towards you. The History of Baldtop and your syllabus. In a much more pronounced language rather than Irony's goofiness, you read, in your time at Baldtop, 1 year of study, in training to be a bookend, you will undergo bodily training, mental strengthening, and fostering of your willpower. To serve as a bookend is to protect that which is most sacred here in Baldtop, namely books, tomes, scrolls, but really anything that contains knowledge, wisdom, and ultimately the truth. While you're here at Baldtop, you will have 7 points in which you can spend towards building your character. Gaining a bonus proficiency will be 2 points, and I'll post it in the chat. Gaining an extra language, you will spend 1 point. Gaining a tool proficiency, you will spend 1 point. Gaining a bonus feat, 3 points. Gaining a bonus cantrip, 2 points. Gaining a bonus spell in which you may cast 1 time per day at first level, 3 points. You all each get 7 points in which to spend to show the progress your character makes over a year's study. Hours later, you pour through this syllabus, your eyelids sticking together, your stomach rumbling with hunger, your bladder full of urine. Just time after time, you're flipping through the pages. I would like each of you to roll an intelligence saving throw.
17.
Way to go, Sterling.
21 for Hawkins.
Hawkins, you come in first place, Sterling second, and Vaughn last, as your intellectual stamina is able to absorb this information. Besides, Hawkins actually tearing through most of the book quicker than the rest of you. What does your success look like?
Yes. So Hawkins absorbs. I mean, he's kind of skimming a little bit because there are some sections that are pretty dry, but he finds in one of the appendices of the history of Bald Top some old like blueprints. They're not complete. Like he's sure they're not complete, but he can see like how some buildings were added on and their blueprints are included. So he's kind of getting an idea of the layout of all the buildings on the whole grounds, as well as some detailed looks at specific things like the library itself.
And Sterling's
in full study mode. The way that he was taught at the Delvers, he's got an additional piece of parchment out, and he's writing down notes, and he's, keeping track. And he's trying to, for his own personal study, just in case he doesn't get to keep the book. But he is in the back of his mind, kind of thinking about the culture of this place. He's met two people, and then something that stood out from the book was that anything that contains wisdom or knowledge. And he knows that a lot of the people contain wisdom and knowledge, so they should be important to people at Bolt Up. So he's starting to think, hey, like he needs to help change the culture a little bit of this place to remind them of that. Because he's just made 3 new friends. He's excited. These are the first in his life. So.
Vaughn
dives in eagerly because he's excited to gain all of this knowledge, and he's being exposed to so many things he's never experienced. But as he is reading in the syllabus and in the book, he's overwhelmed by all the information that Irony shared and just everything that he's taken in so far. He can't concentrate. He's trying hard, but every time he reads half a page, and then he's thinking about the gods that could possibly be walking among them. And then reads another page, and he thinks about the magic that has been experienced recently, and reads another half a page, and then thinks about how in the world did I run extra fast, and what is all of this that's happening that he's experiencing for the first time. So he's super distracted, and that's why he doesn't get as far into the materials as he would have expected to or wanted to. And he's still tired because that 1 hour nap didn't quite revitalize him yet, and he's still feeling pretty sore.
You're all sitting down for dinner after a long day of studying, and long many days of studying with plenty of programs and plans and classes for this next year before you are fully inducted as a bookend. Already people have begun to whisper and call you the new recruits, the bookends. Idle hands, your hands have not been idle as you've been begged for more than once or twice a signature on a piece of parchment. And you do look around, there are no gnomes that you can see at this point, mostly humans, tieflings. There are quite a few elves, especially among the higher ranking. There's 1 or 2 dwarves, and then quite a few hinfolk as well. It's a very eclectic place.
After the first
Go ahead.
After the first few, like maybe 6 or 7 times he's giving out his autograph, he kind of realizes that they're interested in his last name specifically, and so he starts to sign Hawkins and styling it very similar to the Hawkins and Fletcher brand that they would put on all of their arrows. So it's just Hawkins now.
While you're sitting here at dinner time, eating a simple meal of stew, vegetables, and beef, what are you noticing around this cafeteria? Vaughn
is looking, he's evaluating the people that are in the room. He's trying to figure out how many people are learners, how many people may be magic users, how many people are monks, and more specifically monks like him that may be more in tune with their physical abilities and maybe even weapon play and such. And he's He's specifically trying to evaluate if there's anybody who looks like they could be proficient in longsword fighting or excellent with the longbow, because in the back of his mind, he still feels like these two skills are things that are going to be extremely important for him going forward, and especially in his new role as a defender of the library and of the knowledge. And so he's kind of looking around the room to see if there's anybody that he could buddy up with or learn from, and then also take an inventory of who could possibly be somebody to watch out for if there ever happened to be an issue.
Sterling, Hawkins, and Vaughn, you see approaching you a collection of about 5 people, one in particular, a very large man. He's got a white sash on, beautiful like sunlight blonde hair, and he just says, "Hello, you're Vaughn, the bookend, yes?"
Yes, I am.
"I am Sigurd. I am the Order of Baldtop, one of the monks here, and I understand we'll be training together. Is that good, huh?"
Yes, that sounds good.
You're a quiet person, okay? If you're going to join the Order of Baldtop as a bookend, you need to speak up a little bit so we can hear how powerful you are, huh?
Yes, sir.
That's what I like to say. Oh, look at you, and you, Mr. Stargazer. You were going to be a monk here, huh?
Oh, a monk. Yeah, I can do that.
Is that so? I don't think so. I was just kidding with you, man, because you're so big.
Yeah, that's a shame. But hey, I'm happy with the way I am.
No, I was saying maybe sometime we can do a little bit of wrestling. You're pretty strong, huh? Or is it all just show, just fluffiness, huh?
Yeah, these aren't real muscles. No, they're just for show. Yeah.
Hey, watch out for this guy. Hey, Hawkins, man, he'll charm you or something, turn you into a frog.
Actually, I thought I might be a monk.
Oh, I'm sure. Hey, man, maybe we could throw you across the room and then you could go poke out some eyes, huh? All right, you like to play. I like the jokes, okay? All right, Vaughn, we'll go train, okay? My name's Sigurd, all right?
Thank you, Sigurd.
That's right. Loud talk. Good. Vaughn, you have gained yourself an ally. Sigurd, Order of Baldtop Library. Hawkins, what are you paying attention to in this room?
Hawkins is looking at the tapestries that are hanging on the walls that are depicting some things that he has assumed to be legend, but now he's thinking maybe there's some truth in it. There's even a tapestry about the rise of Tiamat that was successfully thwarted by heroes of yore. He's taking it all in.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, you see the 5 heads of Tiamat sprouting from the ground and a wiry old dwarf smashing in one of the heads. A stealthy henfolk stabbing with Queen's favor, slashing back and forth. A dwarf channeling the powers of Morden and Lathander, and a creepy-eyed, dark individual sulking in the background, channeling dark energies from the Feyland. Sterling, what's one thing you pay attention to in this cafeteria before you turn in to go to bed that night?
So as he's been watching the people as well, but for different reasons, just to see their interactions, he's definitely been keeping one eye open for djinns and gods. And when this big blonde-haired dude with a white sash walk up, he's a little bit like, is this one of them? But then when he introduces himself, he's a little bit more calmed down. But he's definitely excited and very much ready to begin his journey.
You lay your head on your pillow that night and your eyes begin to flutter into a dreamlike state. Feeling refreshed and incredibly exhausted. Sleep begins to take you, but you hear a voice. And for a second, it almost sounds like it's in the room with you. "No, it'll be quite all right. I think so. We can most certainly arrange that." And then it stops, and then you hear movement in the room, like a chair being dragged across the floor. But you don't remember a chair being in there. I think that it will be some time before we have a chance to... A voice, again, a familiar voice. You've heard it before, somewhere. You're grasping at it, trying to remember. Is it a friend? Is it a foe? I think the payment from the Fletcher will suffice. And then the voice gets fuzzy and quiet. For a moment you feel a connection. And then you hear a voice in your head, like an itch you can't scratch. Go to the end of the road. Go to the end of the road. Do you understand? And you hear nothing in return. The morning light creeps through the window. The dream, fuzzy and difficult to catch in your memory. Nevertheless, you remember you had it, but soon your body is wakening with adrenaline and energy as you rush off to breakfast, busy throughout the day. But between page turns, the memory of that dream comes back and forth. And so for now, our story concludes. Every story comes to an ending, and so for now we conclude. Thank you for listening, Sojourners. Your attention will not go unrewarded, and we look forward to continuing this adventure. If you enjoyed this background music and ambiance, you should check out Tabletop Audio. You can find them at www.tabletopaudio.com. Take the time to sojourn with us. For articles on playing Dungeons & Dragons, visit www.sojournersawake.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at Sojourners Awake. And as always, Sojourner, may your story continue. As the scent of honey and blood fade away on the breeze, Trina steps back into her redwood tree. The Sojourners stand not too far off, tired and spent from their recent encounter with the fairy wolves. They don't seem to notice her, too shaken by their brush with death. That is all except Vaughn, her chosen, and he seems to purposely avoid her gaze. Her heart twinges a little as he puts the others between himself and her tree. She touches her lips, still warm from his, and she sighs. Her thoughts waver like the highest boughs upon the zephyr. But she knows two things are for certain. First, that she will see him again. And second, one kiss was just enough.